of course, his brother Stephen Clegg's been going really well. You know, winning Paralympic medals, world champion, world record holder. It's good to see James back again. I must try and catch up with him this weekend. It'll be good to see him again.
So it's great being on the team with James in 2012. And then Stephen came through and we had that Clegg presence. And now nice just to see James back again. See if he can challenge his brother.
Dorsman takes that one in terms of points, 845 points, just under the 1 minute mark. Javienda in second position there. So heat number 15. This is the fast one. This is one you would have been in, James.
Oh, 100 freestyle, maybe a few before.
Modena, Cancinos from Argentina, Louis Lawler, Great Britain, Bas Taken, Netherlands, Jordan Catchpole from Great Britain, Thomas van Rooij from Netherlands, Tom Hamer, Great Britain. There's Stephen Clegg in this one, James's brother. We've just seen James. William Ellard from Great Britain in 7. Gabriel Bandeira, the great Brazilian, goes in lane number 8. And Felipe Rodriguez, again, great Brazilian champion in the S10 classification in the outside lane. Good friend of yours, Felipe.
Felipe is an incredible freestyler, and yeah, a good friend of mine. He likes to challenge me on the fly, but I think I had that one nailed down for a time. But Felipe, very strong swimmer, having a great time here, and he'll just go from strength to strength as it goes towards the summer.
Well, straight into the front of the field is William Ellard, S14 swimmer from Great Britain. Looks like he's going to lead all the S14s home. 52.34. Now he is in ahead of Gabriel Bandeira, and that is a great time for William Ellard. Wow, excellent time there. Bandeira will be in second position. Of course, the 100 freestyle not an event for the S14s, but they can qualify for those relay spots, and William Ellard is going excellently, and a good time for Stephen Clegg as well. 53.92 for Stephen Clegg, and look at those points totals, James. Wow, incredible, incredibly fast there. 9:53, 9:33, 9:15 and 9:01.
We're getting incredibly close to that magic 1,000 points, and I wonder if we'll see that today.
And again, William Ellard and Stephen Clegg just about a second, half a second outside their own British record times. So great swimming there in that final heat. Our swimmers exit the water. And we move on to the next event. It's the women's 200 metres individual medley. World Series and national heats. So 200 IMs for women, and then for the men. I like the 200 IMs. A lot can happen in a 200 IM. Swimmers get into their different strokes. 2 from Ireland in this one, 1 from China.
So these athletes not having entry times again, so seeing what the surprise is in store for us.
Oh, Amy Sheridan, we saw her get good points total a little bit earlier on. She goes in lane number 4, the S9 swimmer. It's a nice head-on shot to see the technique of Amy Sheridan. And the butterfly, she'll turn on to backstroke. I wonder if she's going to be ahead of her teammate, I think, in lane number 3 as they come into the turn. Dervla Brady, 46.57 at the first 50. Kuan Yao from China in 3rd position. But Amy Sheridan, good swim here from the 19-year-old. You did a bit of 200 IM, didn't you, James? In your time?
I would have preferred the 150, but instead of having the breaststroke leg, having a fly leg, I was really strong at the 2 IM apart from breaststroke. So it all fell apart quite nicely at that point.
But you dabble in it, didn't you?
I don't know if I was told to or whether I chose to. Yeah, it's one of those that when you're going through sort of the pathway, that along with the 400 freestyle, are kind of good events to use to mark where you are fitness-wise and to build your skills and to build that race resilience. But as I got a bit older, I decided it was probably slightly too hard for me. Too long. I'll stick to 100 meters.
Yeah, it is a tough event. Everybody's got their strengths in this event, but the IM's one of the toughest on the program. 200 IM, 400 IM even. You didn't venture that far.
No, I think I probably did one once and realised quite how difficult it was. But in awe of those athletes that are good at 200s and 400 IMs, just you have to be so good at every skill and be obviously very fit and be able to keep it going the whole way through and have almost 4 separate races.
So a good contest here for second, but it looks like Amy Sheridan is coming away and clear at the front of the field. Irish, of course, have been successful Paralympic Games in the past at the major championships.
And for a smaller program as well, they've had a lot of success over the years, especially more recently.
Yeah, well, I think every year since I can remember, look back on the records, I think since 1984 they've always won a medal in the pool at Paralympic Games.
What a record!
It's a great record.
What a record to
great
have
record
for
a small nation.
Smaller team, yeah.
Yeah. Likes of Dave Malone, who's coaching with the Irish team now. He's the performance director as well. He was the standard bearer for the Irish team for a few years. The only one taking the medals. That gold medal in Sydney. I was talking to him about that yesterday, actually. Because he'd never seen the coverage of his gold medal in Sydney, but he managed to source a video of it last year.
I think Dave's probably got a lot of the reason behind why that Irish team has been successful continuously, doing a good job coaching and running that program.
So it looks like Guan Yao is going to be top in terms of the points. Chinese swimmer coming in at 350.69. Amy Sheridan, good swim at the front of the field there, 308.99 with Derval Brady in 355.89. So back again now. We're almost in. I was going to say we're into the ones where we know the times of them, but we don't know half of them because there's 3 without times in this one, and that's the 3 at the top there. Hugh Zhu, Thrastar Dottier, Asia Maureen Espinal, Morales Lopez, Merrin Binney, Rose Webb, Celine Sash, Caitlin Trevor, and Ida Cochran. So again, we've got 2 in the S14 classes there. Thrastar Dottier and Maureen Espinal. They go in 1 and 2. I've got Hugh Zhu in lane 0. Remember lane 0 at the bottom. Lane 9 right at the top of your screen as we're looking at this one. There is no one in 9 for this particular heat, so we have 9 swimmers in it, 0 to 8. Celine Sash is behind in the early stages. She is along with Morales Lopez, the 2 lower numerical classes. We've got 2 SM5s in this one. But stretching away as you would expect is the SM14 swimmer. And that's Asia Maureen Espinal. So it's a good contest on the other side of the pool there, James. Quite close between the 3 swimmers. Almost side by side there.
And it's always exciting in a 200 IM to see how the race develops with the everyone having their strengths at certain points and in certain strokes. So it starts off and you might get someone pulling away, but a breaststroke specialist will reel them back in on that third length.
Well, certainly pulling away now is Maureen Espial. She's coming down to the halfway point. Some of the swimmers still making their way up to the turn. Morales Lopez from Mexico, the S5 swimmer, as Maureen Espial goes over in first position. Second position, it's Hu Zhu from China into the wall there at 125.18. Third place, Thrasta Dottir. So it's all kind of getting a little bit spread out, James, in this one.
And with those ones with no time, as we said, for the surprises, seeing how they're getting on.
Of course, some huge names to come in the heats to follow. 10 heats of this one. And one of Britain's most successful Paralympians of recent years, Maisie Summers-Newton, coming up very shortly. Humphreys back in again. Some good chances for Great Britain here to have some more qualification standards.
See if we can add to our list, Paul.
We have. We started off well. It's kind of slowed down a little bit. It's time we added someone else, I think. So Espial comes in. French having a good meet so far. The French, of course, preparing for Paris. We talked about the Chinese when they prepared for Beijing. What was it? Did you feel that things ramped up when you were preparing for London in 2012?
It was a massive whirlwind. I was doing my A-levels at the same time. So that and then deciding to break my arm before the games meant that lots was going on, but just a whirlwind and a fuzz of everything. Coming towards the end of my A-levels, looking to universities. My sister had qualified for the games. I had qualified. It was lots going on.
Yeah, it was
exciting times though.
It was. It was an incredible moment to be a part of in your home games, and I imagine Paris is just going to be absolutely incredible for the French team and for everyone else. I think it looks great so far. All the things that are coming out of Paris look excellent.
And the fact that we haven't had crowds. We didn't have crowds in Tokyo.
No.
And, some of these athletes might have had massive experiences in Tokyo and done some amazing things, but they may never experience what a Paralympic crowd will look and feel like, which is very different to other major championships that we might attend.
The swimmers just making their way into the wall there. It's Rose Webb was in for Northampton in lane number 5 in 4:06.62. It was a close finish there for Celine Sash, Caitlin Trevor. 4:15 and 4:18 for them. The swimmers still left in the water. As in lane 4, Miriam Binney comes home. Swim it, 4:35.93 for Miriam. That's a good improvement for her. 10 seconds inside her entry time. Yeah, of course, for Tokyo, you were in Tokyo, weren't you, at the holding camp? But it was a real. You felt for Tokyo, didn't you? Really, because all the things building up to 2020 were just, it was going to be an incredible game. It was going to be one of the best ever, and then of course it was all taken away from them.
Tokyo itself was having the opportunity to work for the British Paralympic Association out there, assisting with the preparation camp was incredible, and they did an incredible job of hosting a games in a very difficult time. I had the fortunate experience of being able to see a couple of events, and for the athletes, it was happening, and I think that was the biggest thing, that you had the opportunity to compete for your titles. My biggest regret with it was for the Japanese public, not being able to see the Olympics and Paralympic Games in their own nation. kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it would have been massive for the Paralympic movement in Japan.
Yeah, the Japanese, well, the swimmers certainly performed really well. A few medals for Japan. They didn't win any gold medals in Rio, the Japanese swimmers in the para team, but they managed to pick up a few in their home games. And some of these gold medalists are taking part of these championships this week. So the next heat coming. Ida Anderson-Wolf, Maori Yui, Shiva Brady, Katrina Rossler, Thelma Bjornsdottir, Ellen Stevenson, Argona Diana, Samantha Lewis, Abigail Wickens, and Amanda Redhead. You were just pointing something out to me, James. Stephen Clegg, we think we can add him to the list.
I believe we can. 53.92 is underneath the qualification standard.
Oh, good spot.
Just slightly shy of his own British record.
There he was half a second outside that, but inside that qualifying standard. Let's add Stephen to the list. We're in.
What number are we on now, Paul?
I think 3. Is that right? Ellie Chalice, Solly Kearney, Stephen Clegg. Nice start. We're only yet in the third event.
So it's a
200 IM.
Third event in a heat. So hopefully everyone's looking at sort of moving on some swims in tonight's finals.
Aragon Diana from Argentina leads them through the S8 swimmer. A range of S8s all kind of side by side here. Aragon Diana was a medalist at the World Championships. The S8 swimmer last year for Argentina, one of those group of Argentinians that did so well. Very close contest here for second position. Shiva Brady, another one of these swimmers that was at the Irish team for the Commonwealth Games, Northern Ireland, of course. Swimming for the Irish team here, and she comes into the halfway point in second position, just behind Aragon Diana. And in third place, Abigail Wickens. Up there in lane number 8, Ellen Stevenson in fourth position. In lane number 5. And there it is. Aragon Diana just stretching away there in lane 6. Brady gone along nicely. But coming back in the centre now, it looks like it might be Ellen Stevenson, the S14 swimmer. And also a good contest at the far side between Abigail Wickens and Amanda Redhead. So Aragon Diana, Shiva Brady. They look like they are side by side here. Only 0.7 of a second separating those two. Both in the S8 classification. So it's a good swim from the Irish swimmer. So it's going to be these S8s. The touch is going to be all important for this one, because that will determine whoever gets in first will get the highest number of points. So these two are going to be coming in absolutely together. It might be the Argentinian who's just going to get the touch over the Irish swimmer. And in there, just Aragon Diana gets that one. 464 points. 457 for Shiva Brady. She's actually tied. It's a dead heat there. 327.66 between Abigail Wickens and Shiva Brady.
It's a good drop on their entry times for Shiva Brady.
So looking at the points, these might be, I was going to say they were going to be the highest number of points, but they're not, are they? It's going to be Maori Yui from Japan, the S5 swimmer. 738 points for Maori Yui.
So that's a big swim for Maori Yui.
Oh, and look, we have a disqualification. Well, we were going on about Aragon Diana, but there's a DQ there. So she's not going to appear in the top 3 positions there. Maori Yui, 738 points is the winning total. She will take that heat. So that's heat number 3 gone. We'll move on to heat number 4. 10 heats of this one, of course. There's Mwaba Nakwasa, Husna Kokandakwe, Ortiz Campos, Zhao Cheng, Dong Lu, Evelyn Sharas, Lily Rice, Abigail Daly, Gunnarsdottir and Lucy Jones. 2 in the SM5 classification, Zhao Cheng and Dong Lu will be in the centre lanes. Husna Kokandakwe, again, an interesting swimmer, the Ugandan swimmer, the only Ugandan representative, was the youngest swimmer in those Tokyo Paralympic Games. We're trying to work out how old she was in those games. I think she was born in 07, so what would that make her in Tokyo? 13 or 14, presumably? Yeah, 13 or 14.
Throwing back, what was Ellie's record at the time for youngest competitor?
No. Ellie wasn't the youngest competitor for Great Britain at the Paralympics. That's Joanne Round was 12 years old when she competed in 88 and won a medal in 88. It is a... Sorry, Ellie, I know you're joining us on the live stream tomorrow, but I'm going to bust the myth.
That's quite a common myth as well.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Paul Noble, the encyclopedia of Paralympic
I know, because I was there.
Paul, what was your experiences of 200 IM when you were swimming?
Yeah, well, 200 IM was good. When I was in my peak, it was great. I won the gold in 200 IM in Barcelona in '92, which was a little bit of a, not a shock. I was confident I was going to do it, but I beat the world record holder at the time by a huge margin, 3/100ths of a second.
Massive margin.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
And that was, it was great. But once we got into, once I was kind of not at my peak, 200 IM became very difficult to swim. I remember swimming. I was always quite strong at the breaststroke, and I remember turning here in Sheffield after the backstroke and thinking, right, I'll catch up on the breaststroke. And I thought, I can't even see them in front of me now. They're so far ahead. I was like, must be time for me to give up 200 IM. But it's tough. But when I love it. When I was at my peak, I loved it. But when I wasn't, it was tough.
It's one of those, and when you are at your fittest and at your peak and ready for it, things seem to work and they seem to click with all the practice you've done, and it becomes very clear in that second 100 when that's not the case.
Yes, I knew it straight away.
I think for me it was coming back on the 100 fly was one of the first competitions after my retirement. I realised how those 3 years had affected me when, with about 35 metres to go, I questioned whether I was going to finish the race or not.
Oh dear.
They get tougher as you get older, Paul, don't they?
Oh, they certainly do. Good swim here from Gunnarsdottir from Iceland, and Lily Rice as well, who's again a medalist for the Welsh team at the Commonwealth Games. Lily Rice, probably best known before she was a swimmer for doing her, I'm not sure what you call it, like your acrobatics in wheelchairs. So like skateboarders, but doing it in a wheelchair, doing the jumps.
It sounds
and twists, turns, somersaults in the wheelchair. Lily Rice, look for her on Twitter. on YouTube, you'll see examples of her.
Sounds incredible. Not something that I would ever trust myself attempting.
No. I'm not sure the Brittle Bone Society has got a wheelchair acrobatic group. That's not going to end well.
It's
you and I both with osteogenesis imperfecta. We know how that's going to work out.
Yeah, usually a journey to a hospital is what I was thinking there.
But Lily Rice there, 3:06.00. Oh, I've just got a message there from Liz Johnson, who's listening on the live stream. Wheelchair cross, she says it's called. Thank you, Johnson.
Liz with all her knowledge.
Yes, that's right.
Where did she learn it
live
from,
stream? She's all over it. So 700 meter Cheng from China ahead of her teammate Lu Dong. That's going to be the top points total. Evelyn Sharash, the Hungarian, is going to be. Oh, in fact, I was going to say Evelyn Sharash is going to be up there in the points, but it's a DQ again. And Krishna Kukandakwe, good swim from her, 570 points for the youngster, the youngest swimmer in Tokyo. Lily Rice with that good swim. I wonder if that's going to get her another swim, Lily Rice, tonight. Be good to see her make a little bit of a jump, Lily Rice, no pun intended. At bronze medal in the backstroke in the Commonwealth Games. Might set her up very nicely here for a little tilt at the backstroke qualification stand. It'd be nice to get someone to move through. Yeah, so we have those 3 qualification standards already achieved by the GB team members. Of course, it's not a guaranteed position in the team if you do make those standards. It's just a consideration time, but it's the first step in selection, isn't it, James?
Yeah, absolutely, and you want to put your name in the hat for that selection, and there are multiple different criteria, but that time that you achieve based upon things like medal potential, really give yourself a good fighting chance to be on the bus.
Yeah, and the GB team, of course, there's an international standard qualification, but the GB team standards tend to be a little bit tougher than that. Well, they have been traditionally, which kind of means if you make the GB team, you're pretty well ranked in the kind of world rankings for your event.
It's one of those that we're a victim of our own success in some ways. And obviously, we have so many great, talented athletes who are ranked within the top 10, but you can't take everyone. So we have to focus on the ones that are going to get medals, going to get finals, are going to add to the team. And that's what those target times and those qualification standards are linked to.
Well, I wonder if we're going to get any more adding to our list. We'll just keep tabs on that. We'll keep tabs of any records that we might see here. We thought we already saw Scarlett Humphrey going earlier this morning inside her own British record for the 100 freestyle. And it looks like she is coming down nicely here in the lane closest to us. You'll just see her appearing from behind the graphics. The S11 swimmer with no vision at all. So Scarlett Humphrey in this near lane. It's going along very nicely indeed. Liza Humphrey in the water as well. She's slightly behind her sister at this stage. Paralympic medalist Nicole Turner. She's a medalist in the 50 butterfly. She goes for Ireland in lane number 1. Out ahead of the field, looks like it's Ella Williams for Swindon Dolphins. One of the Great Britain young swimmers as well. Brooklyn Hale going well for Cockermouth. She goes in lane number 4. The breaststrokers all starting to come back now, James. Quite often you see this in individual medley.
As I said, it's you get those pulling away at the start, and the breaststroke leg seems to even it back up again. But in 0, Scarlett Humphrey is onto her freestyle leg and is going strong.
Yeah, we'll just keep an eye on the record times that Scarlett Humphrey is going to try to achieve. Qualification standard again might just be a little bit beyond her at 250, but it's a long-standing British record held by Elaine Barrett, and just over the 3-minute mark. So 3 minutes, 0.56, but Scarlett Humphrey looks in great shape here. The first 2 races that we've seen for her this morning, she's going to be very close to that long-standing record here, James. 257.90, wow. Looks like it might be another British record for Scarlett Humphrey. Wow, 2 great swims.
It's an excellent swim and 706 points as well, so putting herself in good contention for having another swim later this evening.
Just in lane number 9, we'll keep an eye on Daomin Liu, Chinese swimmer. Again, was at an incredible World Championships back in 2019. The Chinese swimmer taking a gold in the 100 breaststroke, took silver behind Maisie Summers-Newton in the breaststroke, the Chinese swimmer in lane number 9. So Scarlett Humphrey, 257, and we think that's another British record for Scarlett Humphrey. 2 in the morning.
It's getting greedy.
Yeah.
What a morning she's having, and the swims are excellent, and point scores to match. Nicole Turner